What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. For those of you new to the channel, my name is Vince Warburton and this is VW Fitness. Today we are talking about the Merica Labz Red, White, and Boom high caliber pre-workout. Let's get to it. All right, guys, so before we get started in today's video, make sure you visit the website www.vwfitness.club and pick up a shaker bottle, guys. Those are still available right now. It comes in a blue, which you guys can see here, blue cap, and a white cap. And they are clear. They are the same bottle that I always use when I do the reviews. The reason why I went with clear is obviously so that you guys can see consistencies and mixability when I do the review. So make sure you head on over there, check those out, guys. I really appreciate it. Helps support the channel, and we are trying to grow. So if you guys are new to the channel, we'd like to break down the pre-workout supplement review into 4 different parts. We're gonna talk about price, we're gonna talk about the label ingredient breakdown, we're gonna talk about the taste, and then lastly, we'll talk about the effects. I will go do a workout, I'll come back, and then we'll wrap it up with the effects portion of the review. Let's get started with the review, guys. Price, this comes in at $44.99. Now that is for 20 servings. With that price point, it's gonna come out to $2.25 per serving. And with that price point on my consistent scale, that is gonna be a 1 out of 5. Now, I do wanna make a very major note with this review, that this is the DMHA version of the Red, White, and Boom. And it's kind of rare or somewhat hard to find now. They did discontinue it. If you go to Merica Labz, it is not the DMHA version. It is not the version that I have here. So just kind of keep that in mind, and I will point out the differences in terms of what ingredients are in this and what ingredients aren't in the actual version that's available now. Now, I'm not saying you won't be able to get this, because I'm sure you might be able to find it. Now, I found it on naturalbody.com. They still had the DMHA version, and I wanted to snag it before it kind of disappeared, like I think a lot of people are trying to do. I am basing the price point on the current version that is out now, not necessarily this version, because it's not going to be easily found. And the label ingredients, the effects, all that is going to be based on this version here, the DMHA version. So that can get a little confusing, but we'll try to keep it as clear and concise for you guys as possible. So price point 1 out of 5, moving into the label ingredient breakdown. All right, guys, let's get right into this label. We start out with a 21.3 gram scoop. Now this is different, like I said, from the current version. The current version is actually a little bit larger scoop, so just kind of keep that in mind here. But we're gonna start out with 8 grams of L-citrulline malate 2-to-1. Now, I've talked about citrulline malate kind of in my earlier videos. I kind of came out as a very big, I was not a huge fan of it unless it's dosed properly. Now, when it's a 2-to-1 ratio like this, guys, that means that there's roughly gonna be about 5.5 grams of pure citrulline, and the other part is gonna be the malic acid. Now, with that, okay, 4 or 5 grams I think is a really good amount. So with this 8 grams, I'm actually pretty happy to see that. Next up, we have 5 grams of creatine monohydrate. Talked about this a ton on the channel, especially in my earlier reviews, guys. No one was putting creatine monohydrate really in their pre-workouts, and it's been kind of rare to find creatine monohydrate or any sort of creatine form in a lot of pre-workouts. There's only been a few up on this wall that really have an efficacious dose. So awesome to see 5 grams. Next up, 3.2 grams of beta-alanine. That's responsible for those beta tingles, guys. So if you guys are sensitive to that, if you don't want to experience any of that, you don't want to feel that flushing, tingling feeling, then potentially maybe stay away from this. I will let you guys know exactly how I personally go about it. I don't mind the beta tingles. I actually like them. It kind of gives me this idea in my head that the pre-workout is starting to kick in. My body's starting to absorb some of the supplement ingredients, and it's go time. All right, so then the rest of this label is kind of your stimulants and nootropics. So we start out with L-tyrosine at 1.5 grams. I think this is a good dose. I've seen obviously a lot less in a lot of pre-workouts. I've talked about L-tyrosine a little bit. I'm not the largest fan of it. It's a nootropic of sorts, gonna help with that mental clarity, mental focus. I have read some studies that it can potentially bring down some of the stimulant effects of, you know, your caffeine or your DMHA. Those are kind of still out there, I guess, and that's kind of the issue with limited research on some of these supplement ingredients. So kind of take it with a grain of salt. Next up, we have choline bitartrate at 1 gram. Definitely a solid, efficacious dose here. Love to see that. And then 450 milligrams of caffeine anhydrous, guys. ton of caffeine in this. I'm definitely gonna feel it. It's early in the morning here. I mean, it's morning, I'll say that. And we are going to work out fasted here. So I am a little bit worried, but we're gonna definitely get some energy going, and I'm looking forward to it. All right, and then the big one that I'm sure you guys have been looking forward to, 200 milligrams of the DMHA. That is a large amount. Okay, that's actually a really big amount of DMHA. You know, for me personally, I'm not like a huge lover of DMAA or DMHA or some of these really high stimulants. They don't necessarily change a lot of my effects when it comes to a pre-workout. I do, you know, get that kind of zeroed in focus and energy, but I don't really get it at such an extreme that I think I need it. And this is kind of one of those pre-workouts that I don't know I would necessarily call this a daily driver. I think this is kind of a maybe once a week, maybe once every couple weeks, or maybe on those workouts where you really need an extra punch. I would not suggest taking this every single day. There are some high amounts of stimulants in here, so I would always be cautious and always check with your physician or doctor before you start any supplement, guys. Just keep that in mind. All right, so then next up we have 100 milligrams of the theobromine, 99%. Now that is a good dose. This is a similar ingredient, supplement property to caffeine, so it's another stimulant here. All right, so then next up we have 50 milligrams of the Hordenine HCl. Now this is a little bit lower than I've seen in a lot of other pre-workouts. Usually I tend to see like 100, 200 milligrams here. So interesting to see. I'm not gonna dig it too much on there because I think there's a lot of really other great stimulants in here. And then last up we have 10 milligrams of the Huperzine A. 1% of that is the Huperzine A. So with that, guys, that's 100 micrograms. So it's kind of half dosed in terms of an efficacious dose. Efficacious dose would be right around 200 micrograms. It's gonna help with that mind-muscle connection, another kind of nootropic ingredient. So what it's missing for me is gonna be some black pepper extract or potentially some estrogen, something to help absorb all these ingredients. I mean, there's a lot of stimulants in here. There's some pump ingredients in here. You know, there's a lot of things going on in here, and it just, I think in this day and age, they gotta start putting in some black pepper extract or at least some estrogen to help with that. I like that there's creatine in here. Obviously there's DMHA in here. There's a lot of stimulants in here. Everything I would say is dosed fairly well. You know, on a scale, I would give it a 4 out of 5. I think, you know, some of these latter ingredients are a little bit lacking, but you know, the DMHA is high. The caffeine is high. The beta-alanine, kind of your staple ingredients, are really at a good level. So, you know, in terms of what it's missing, not a lot. What are the differences? Okay, so there is no DMHA, obviously, like I said, in the current version. There is no theobromine in the current version. There is no Hordenine in the current version, and there's no Huperzine A in the current version. Now, what it does have is teacrine in the current version. No teacrine in this version. So kind of a different kind of mix up, and it's probably going to be a little bit different experience for you guys in terms of a pre-workout. But in terms of the label ingredient breakdown, guys, I am going to give this a 4 out of 5. Like I said, some of the latter ingredients are a little bit lacking. I'm going to dock it a point there. I still think it's an incredible label, don't get me wrong. I just feel like if you're gonna put a few of these latter ingredients in here, you know, dose them properly like you did the rest of the label. All right, so then let's move right into taste, guys. This comes in 9 different flavors currently, okay? Now, I do have the Blue Angels flavor here that is not currently available now. So just kind of keep that in mind. 9 different flavors, they're up here on the screen, and you guys can check those out. But again, have not taken this product. I've heard a lot about it, a lot of good things. And yeah, like I said, sealed here. This does recommend 10 to 16 ounces of water, and I would recommend actually starting out with half a scoop, guys, if you're kind of new to pre-workouts especially. I think this is really going to be a really big heavy hitter here. So we are going to do 1 full scoop here, 16 ounces of water. Dang, that's a big scoop. Nice, good shake. All right, well, as you guys can see here, it is a white color, kind of interesting. I was expecting Blue Angels. Foaming was kind of high, I would say about here, and then it immediately went down pretty fast. Minor sediment on the bottom here, nothing too crazy. I don't know if you guys can even see that. But yeah, overall, I would say mixability is really good. Time for the taste test. Cheers. All right, so it kind of has this bitter taste. Now, mind you, I just brushed my teeth, so I do still have some of that toothpaste kind of in my mouth, I guess you could say. Kind of this bitter flavor, but sweet on the end, like kind of this blue raspberry. That's what I kind of feel here. It's a blue raspberry, not overly sweet. The flavor is actually really nice. It's not like overpowering. I wouldn't say that this is like an explosion, which I kind of would have thought with a red, white, and boom kind of name. But the flavor is really nice. It's very smooth. You know, it's not thick. Everything mixed up really nicely. I do taste kind of this bitterness right off the top, and that could be from the toothpaste this morning. But at the same time, there's a lot of stimulants in here, and you're trying to mask a lot of kind of bitter flavors here. Overall, I would give this flavor a 5 out of 5. I think this is something I could drink every day. I personally would probably do a little bit less water. Now they're probably telling you to do 10 to 16 ounces, and I went on the high end there to try to help break up a lot more of the scoop size. It is 21.3 grams, so it is a lot. So you can do a little less water. I'd probably do about 10 ounces, which is almost to where I'm at right now. 10 ounces is here, and liquid's about right there. So anyway, guys, I'm gonna smash the rest of this back. I'm gonna head off to the gym. Big chest day today. We'll come back, we'll talk about the effects, and we'll go from there. We'll see you guys here soon. All right, guys, just got back from the gym, and let's talk about the effects of the Merica Labz Red, White, and Boom DMHA version. On the way to the gym, definitely felt a little bit of the beta-alanine tingles in my face. That just kind of told me that everything was igniting, everything was going. Hopped on the Stairmaster for 15 minutes, my usual. Started sweating pretty good, and then worked into a chest and tricep workout. It was just over an hour workout total. Sat in the sauna for a bit to sweat out some of the excess water that we're kind of holding right now. And to be honest with you, the effects of this pre-workout are actually really insane. I don't feel like any jitters. At one point, I did feel a little bit of the anxiety from such high stimulants. Everything I feel like, moved through me really fast. The mind-muscle connection was really solid. Got some really good pumps in there, I'll be honest, with that citrulline, and just, overall, mind-muscle connection, and really working out really hard. I feel like this pre-workout is more of a stim-heavy pre-workout. Obviously, we kind of talked about that in Tropics. That focus in stim is kind of the biggest thing pump-wise. That can kind of go hand in hand, I guess. If you're able to make that really good mind-muscle connection, you're able to really push out extra reps, you're gonna get that pump, regardless if you have a bunch of pump ingredients. Obviously the pump ingredients help with the pump, but overall, I think this pre-workout is definitely solid. If you can get your hands on it, I would highly recommend you guys check it out. I think it's a heavy hitter. I would not recommend taking this necessarily every day. I think it's one of those products that you take, when you need to hit those big muscle groups, you're a little tired, maybe an early morning workout. I didn't have any stomach issues, no nausea. Like I said, I did feel a little bit of the anxiety, and right now, I'm not shaking or any jitters right now post-workout. So overall, in terms of effects, I'm going to give it a solid 5 out of 5 if you're looking for a stimulant, focus-based pre-workout, so definitely keep that in mind. So if you guys want to sample this, make sure you head on over to the website, www.vwfitness.club, snag some free samples, snag a shaker cup, and we'll get those sent out to you guys as soon as possible. With that being said, guys, if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you smash that thumbs up button, hit the subscribe and bell for notifications, and as always, we'll see you in the next one.